With Team of the Season just around the corner, if you guys need FIFA 23 coins, make sure you check out MMOXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're fast, cheap and reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a nice 5% discount. So what's up guys, my name's Ash and welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are having a great day so far. I hope you're enjoying Team of the Season if you're opening packs or playing the game or whatever. In today's video guys, we've got an updated custom tactics and player instructions video for the 3-4-2-1 formation, one of the most popular formations in recent times on this game. Just before we get started though guys, as always, I'd very much appreciate it if you could drop this video a thumbs up, as it does really help me out. Sub to the channel if you are new, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you do get notified when videos are posted. With all that aside guys, let's get right into today's video. Okay guys, so starting off with the custom tactics for the defensive style, as always, you guessed it, we have this on balance. Now, the reason we have this on balance is because it gives you the greatest control over your defense, where you're able to press when you need to press, and you're also able to drop off and be a little bit more conservative when you need to be. So having it on balance does give you the greatest control, and it allows you to work your defense in whatever way you please, when you please. Some people prefer pressure tactics, that's fine, but I do suggest balanced if you can get used to it. Now moving on to the defensive width guys, I like to have this on about 45. It's not a specific number that you have to use, but the reason I use it on 45 is so we can primarily defend in that narrow shape to block those attacks through the middle, but at the same time we still have that natural coverage of the wide areas, so when an opponent tries to go down the wing, we're also able to cover the attacks there as well. So we primarily defend in a narrow shape, but we also have that natural width too. Now moving on to the depth guys, I like to have this on 60. This is so our defensive line isn't too low to the point where we're always getting pinned back and we have constant pressure on us, and at the same time we don't want a super high defensive line to the point where we're always getting through balled. So we kind of go for something in between with like 60. So sometimes we can sit a little bit deeper, and then other times we can have the defensive line a little bit higher. It's just a really nice balance that I like to use. Now moving on to build-up play guys, I suggest having this on balance. This is because it is the most varied and it is the most consistent throughout FIFA 23. What I mean by varied is you can play quickly when you want to, you can slow it down when you need to, and it's obviously very consistent with FIFA 23 gameplay. What I mean by this is FIFA 23 gameplay very inconsistent. Sometimes it can be quick gameplay, other times it can be very slow gameplay, so something like balance suits you up for all of these gameplays. Something like fast build would be nice when the gameplay is fast and responsive, but as you guys know, it very rarely is. Now moving on to chance creation guys, I suggest using direct passing. This is because it's the most meta option you can use. It makes your attackers bunch up against the defenders, so when you receive the ball you can do these really overpowered 1v1 isolation plays, meaning you can beat the defender very easily and create those chances. It also means your players make those extra movements in the box to give you that extra pass option so you can guarantee the goals. Now if you don't like direct passing, which is fine, I suggest something like forward runs, which is where like your attackers will commit very far into your opponent's half, but just beware when you lose the ball with forward runs, you're going to get counter attacked. Now moving on to the attacking width, I just leave this bang in the middle on 50. The reason for this is the 3-4-2-1 is a bit of a weird formation where you can play like wide and narrow at the same time, you know, because of those two centre forwards you can play quite narrow, and then with the left mid and right mid you can also play quite wide. So I like to leave the width on about 50 so we don't have to commit to a narrow style or a super wide style. We can do a bit of both and adapt to the situation, which is why I just leave it on the balanced setting. Now moving on to players in box, I like to have this on 6 so we can commit a lot of players into the box, but at the same time when we lose the ball we're not going to have overcommitted everybody in the box so we get counter attacked. If we have this on 10 we're going to create a lot of chances, but if we lose the ball we're absolutely screwed, and likewise if we have this on 1 we're going to be very defensively sound but we're not really going to create a lot of chances, so I like to just go for about 6. As for corners and free kicks, I have these both on 1 because there is a corner kick routine that I use which requires both of these to be on 1, link to that in the top right hand corner of the screen. Now moving on to the plays you want to use guys, in the striker position, because it is a one striker formation, I suggest you going for a nice well-rounded striker. This is because you have to compensate for the fact that it's a one striker formation instead of 2. In a 2 striker formation you can get the balance between the 2 strikers, so for example you could have one creative striker and then one more poacher striker. In this formation you only have 1 striker, so it's important to get that balance all in one player. So go for somebody that can shoot on either foot, somebody that has a decent dribbling and passing ability, basically basically somebody that can just do a bit of everything. Now moving on to the two forwards, I think it's important that you use good winger style players. Now these are players that have good pace, good dribbling, decent skill moves, good shooting and crossing ability, basically all round good attacking ability. You're not going to want to use players that are super clunky and lack the creative ability, otherwise you're going to struggle to create anything with this formation. So I do suggest going for like those good winger style players. Now moving on to the right mid and left mid, again I suggest using like either really good winger style players or just some decent like wing backs or full backs. It's kind of down to preference. You have a bit of a freedom with these two positions. You know, you could use somebody that's really defensive if you want, so when we defend in a back five and we have like really good defense but maybe lack that attack, or you could go for like really attacking players in this position, so you'd have a really good attack but maybe lack that defensive ability. I don't know, it's completely up to you guys. I'm not really going to say too much about the right mid and left mid because it's completely down to preference what you use. Now moving on to the two centre mids, I suggest going for a bit of a balance between the two. So in the left centre mid spot, I have Jorginho, who's a bit more of a defensive minded player. So this is somebody that's going to stay back and add defensive security for us, somebody with good defensive stats, and you know, is somebody that is just going to defend for us. Now in the right centre mid spot, we go for a more box to box style player. This is somebody that is going to attack and defend for us to help with the transitional play. So we just like to have a balance between the two centre mids, but so again, it's up to you guys what you do with these. As for the three centre backs and the keeper, these just need to be as good as you can get them. There's really not too much to say about them. Moving on to the player instructions, guys. On the striker, we just have him on stay central. The reason we do this is because we do want him to stay in those central positions. We don't want him drifting out wide because he is our only striker, so it is important that he is in the central positions, so he's always there to finish off those chances and he's always where he should be. We also have him on mixed attack because I think it's better than having him on getting behind, because if you put him on getting behind, it makes your attack very one-dimensional, where you're always having to look for those through balls and your striker doesn't really get involved in the build-up. So by putting him on mixed attack, you get a lot more out of your striker, and I feel like it's a lot more creative that way. Now moving on to the right forward and the left forward, we have them on stay central and getting behind. Now the reason we have them on stay central is because although this formation can play a little bit wider, we already have a right mid and left mid to cover those super wide areas, so we can put these forwards on stay central so they stay in those real like awkward to mark pockets of space in those central areas, and they get really dangerous attacks going through the middle. We have them on getting behind, so they're always looking to make those runs in behind and really cause a lot of problems for your opponent. If we put them on mixed attack, sometimes they're a little bit static, and I don't really like that on the two forwards. So stay central, super important in my opinion. Getting behind is up to you. Now moving on to the right mid and the left mid, we have them on comeback on defense, get into the box cross and get in behind. We have them both on comeback on defense, so this will actually defend in a back five. The reason we do this is because it makes the formation as defensively sound as possible, as well as it being really good in attack. So comeback on defense means the left mid's going to come back to defend as a left wing back, and the right mid will come back to defend as a right wing back. Super useful, guys. We have them on getting behind, so they're always looking to make those darting runs down the line and really get the most out of these players. And we also have them on get into the box across, so they're not hesitant to get involved in the penalty area when they're in the position, because if you have them on balanced crossing runs, sometimes they're a little bit static and they won't really get involved, but again, that's down to preference. You can put them on balanced if you like. Now moving on to the left centre mid, the more defensive minded player, we have him on stay back while attacking and cover centre. We have him on stay back while attacking because he is a defensive player, so we don't want him going forward. The only important thing is that we have him on cover centre, so he is covering those central areas, because we've already got enough wide players covering the wider areas. Now moving on to the right centre mid, the more box to box style player, we have him on default settings and cover centre. The default settings are because he's meant to do a bit of everything, so we don't really want to restrict this player all that much. We kind of want him to do whatever he wants to do, basically. The only important thing is that we have him on cover centre, so he does cover those central areas. As for the three centre backs and the keeper, I have them on default settings and I do not touch them. But yeah guys, they're my custom tactics and player instructions for the 3-4-2-1. If you have enjoyed the video though, I'd very much appreciate it if you could drop it a thumbs up, sub to the channel if you are new so you never miss out on any videos like this one, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you are notified when a video is posted. And with all that aside guys, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.